Apparently, PlayStation boss Shuhei Yoshida says selling 10 million copies is now considered an ordinary benchmark for AAA games. I think that's a utter bullshit thing to say, and I honestly think that's a serious problem with the gaming industry at the moment. I'm going to get into it now. I'm reading from Tip the Gamers. It is no surprise to claim that AAA games are now bigger than ever with colossal worlds and increasingly high technical milestones. However, all this has not been possible without massive budgets, to the point that recouping them has become nearly impossible. The former PlayStation boss, Shuhei Yoshida, even believes that selling 10 million units for most AAA entries is now just an ordinary feat rather than a real cause for celebration among developers because budgets are barely recovered at that standard. The PlayStation boss says the industry must rewind to curb rising expectations for AAA games and avoid unrealistic goals. On the Kit Krista podcast, Shiwei says that game publishers are now greenlighting few games because of the 200 million AAA budgets. Even the ones that are greenlit often end up being sequels or remakes, as taking risks can lead to the demise of entire studios. But the thing is, at the same time, he should be saying, yeah, this is a major problem that Sony suffers from, because it's true. Sony suffers from this major problem because they do stupid fucking budgets on their AAA games, and when you really don't have to. All they have to do is just look. With all the bullshit that Nintendo does, the one thing I will say that they're smart about is the way they allocate budgets. They don't make budgets so stupidly expensive, and I honestly think more studios more publishers should be using that line of thinking, because then the thing is you'll have a better chance on making a profit or at least breaking even. Um, the PS4 era saw many AAA blockbusters dominate the industry, as going big was considered as a safe option. But the thing is, even though that we had AAA blockbusters, you need to understand in that generation, we also had the monstrous rise of indie games. I mean, indie games exploded in the last generation, in the PS4 generation, when you really look back and you think, wow, indies really exploded then, because they really did. Um, the chances of success and budgets would be recovered as everyone wanted larger games with more visual fidelity until it became too much. However, that bubble has burst so hard that even a successful AAA game barely appears to break even when AA titles like Clear Obscure and Blueprints are starting to dominate the industry instead. But the thing is, it's no surprise because um, yeah, Claire Obscure is just doing incredible. But then the thing is, they did not make that game as a AAA game. That was a passion project on what they wanted to do. And the thing is also, look at the way how Asian developers are also making games. They're making games which don't need a budget of like 100 million or 200 million. They're being smart with the way how they spend the money. Think about it. I mean, look at Stellar Blade. Look at the amount of money Stellar Blade made, and I guarantee you that budget for that game was not as high as people like to think it is. It just wasn't, and they were smart about it because it didn't need to be it didn't need to have a AAA budget. It wouldn't surprise me if I had a AA budget, and yeah, and it doesn't surprise me that AAA games now are barely breaking even or they're not making a profit, because look at the budgets, and I mean they just keep getting more and more ridiculous, and it's no surprise that AA games and indies are selling far better, and also Nintendo games are selling way better when you really think about it, because just like I said earlier, Nintendo knows how to manage their budgets, and that's what they need to do. They need to reel in their budgets and be like, okay, look, we need to be smart about this. But the thing is, apparently that's not what the hell's going on. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments of what you think about this, about what Shuhei Yoshida said, because I honestly think that is a serious problem, and um, and I honestly think passion projects like Claire Obscure 33, I think there's going to be more of them end up coming out. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. I honestly see that end up happening. And also, look at Capcom. They're one of the biggest publishers out there, and I guarantee you their games do not have as big as a budget as people like to think they do. Um, anyway, again, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me in the links in my YouTube bio, on my Facebook bio, on my Rumble bio too, and um, and I'll see you soon.